Like, the people that do have jobs, you're lucky that you have money to put it in towards your business and your everyday life. For us, I guess we were straight out of high school, and we tried to get jobs. We moved to New York, we really did. Like, we applied at, like, every little clothing store, but then we just been working for Coco and Breezy since day one. So I guess it was meant to be. But I do always tell people that, like, if you have a job, don't spend your job money on going shopping and buying your Louis Vuitton bag. No. Save your money and put it towards your company and your everyday life. Because I feel like when I see like these young people, they're like, yeah, I want to start this company. But then you're using like your steady money that you're getting on clothing, on shopping with clothes, and not with like your company, then that's not like the entrepreneurship mind. And so I think that's very, very important. And also too, I think that you have to be ready to not sleep, but like, we don't sleep. But you have to take care of your body. But you also have to be ready to really push yourself.
I would say that there has to be, especially being an entrepreneur, has to be a level of passion. That you have to be passionate because there are ups and there's downs. So the times where you're down and you know that if you want to give up and you just are so over it, it's not your passion. But when it's your passion and you're in your downtime, like whenever Coco and I have an up and a down, we've had ups and we're super excited, but when we have downs, we're just as excited. Because for me, we take that time to just reevaluate the things that we've done wrong and the things that we can do better. Because you're always good, but you can always be better. And so there has to be a level of just like passion. Like we love waking up in the morning. We love our job. We love everything that gets involved. I think a lot of people only get excited for like the up things, like if they get press or if a celebrity's wearing their stuff, or like if they get an investor, but they don't get excited for like the downfalls. And really, if it's your passion, you should take that time out to really just figure out. Because we had a time in like 2012, we had a downtime, and we could have been like depressed, but we weren't. But it changed our life because it really like flipped our business. We really took that time out because our business blew up a lot faster than we ever could imagine. Like the third day, it started going up, but we didn't have the time to structure our business. We didn't have the time to like actually think about what our goals were. When we first started, if someone asked, what do you want in 5 years? We couldn't answer that question. And so during our downtime, we actually got to make those goals. Okay, I want to do this in 5 years, or this is who we want to be. This is who Coco and Breezy really are. And so passion, that's key.
I agree with everything that was just said. And I was about to say everything that was just said, so I won't repeat everything that was just said. But I guess, once again, it's sort of cliche, but if you're going to fail, fail fast. And like Angela said, like, please do not go out and spend $1 on something that has not been validated in the market. For us, when we wanted to try out our app, I didn't go and build an iOS app. In fact, I don't even have an iOS app yet. Which means that it's available on the Apple's iTunes Store. I have a web application because that's what my budget could afford until now. But when I was getting started with Kinvolved, I went to a hackathon, and I did not even know what a hackathon was. My friend was like, oh, let's go, like, let's just show up and check it out. And I walk in, and I'm like, it's a Friday night, and I was all ready to go out that night. And I walk in, and it was a room full of coders with their sweatshirts on and their headphones on, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? But we pitched our idea, and I'm walking out the door, and this guy runs after me. He's like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, no one here wants to code an education app. Like, no one here cares about education. I had all these guys that just wanted to build something for social good. But with that story said, once again, don't be afraid to write your idea down on a napkin, and don't be afraid to go to a hackathon, even if you have no idea what it is. And don't be afraid to just throw your idea out and throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. And if it falls off, that's fine. It's totally fine. Just try again, try another idea. But don't be afraid to fail at all, because that, I think, is a huge, lame excuse for new entrepreneurs.
Before I open the floor to you guys, we did have one question come in, and I think Jules and Angela said they'd be happy to answer the difference between doing an LSE business. I may have been asking this question right. Business versus an SE. And Jules said she would take that.
I'm going to give the lawyer answer, which is it depends. And no business is the same. I think you need advice. Most lawyers will give you that free advice if you just talk to them and thinking about starting a business. What would you recommend? Don't sign a contract with them. They will do, that sort of feedback for you at the beginning. Is it working? So I guess, it depends. Do you want to be a venture-funded business? Do you want to be a high-growth business? Do you want to be a lifestyle business? What do you want to be? All of that depends. So I think you need to do your homework. This is very basic legal stuff. If you can't figure this out yourself, or at least get to a point where you can ask a smart question, you're not going to be able to deal with the more complicated legal issues that come up later.
3 resources for you. LegalZoom has a grid. When to do an LLC, when to do an S Corp, when to do a C Corp. LegalZoom is one. Second resource is ORIC Total Access, ORRICK. Total Access is legal advice for startups, and they have like build your own term sheets and lots of great stuff. They have webinars as well that are educational. And then the third resource is Venture Hacks, which also does a lot of this kind of stuff. So LegalZoom, ORIC Total Access, Venture Hacks.
Great, awesome, thank you. I'm gonna open the floor up to you guys. If anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand and I'll call on you. Don't be shy. Go ahead.
Hi, I want to talk about business plans. Before you all started your company, did you have the formation of an initial business plan? And if you did, if you could talk a little bit about the ongoing revision of that business plan, if you are currently using one?
Can I go first? I would have to say when Breezy and I first started, we honestly didn't have a business plan because it wasn't planned to even start a business. It was more about like, when we first started, we honestly didn't have a business plan. And the reason behind that is because we just had a product. We didn't have a company. It was more like, oh, we have this cool product and we're going to wear it by ourselves. And then all of a sudden we came to New York and people were asking how to buy them. So we're like, oh snap, we have to start an LLC and actually start a company. But the thing is, like, it was crazy because when we first started, like Breezy said, I think our brand name grew bigger than like our company. So our brand name was very much in demand, but our product line wasn't as, I don't know if you guys remember like the crazy studded glasses that like Lady Gaga, Beyonce, like all those crazy, it was great, but they were a fad. So it was only like a product that was very popular, but it wasn't a way for our business to really grow. So at that time, we honestly didn't know what we wanted. And so now our plan is totally different than when we first started because in the beginning our product was only a fad, and you guys know that fads only last for so long. But when we first started, people would tell us like, we'll go into like different companies, and it's crazy because there's a lot of, when we first started, since we didn't know that we had a fad, but all these big companies would try to invest like 50% of our company without putting up any money, and they thought that we were going to be these young girls, but what they were looking at was, okay, these girls are a fad, we're going to take 50% of their company, not even money, but they're going to think that, it's a great deal. So they were just looking at us like, it was fast money for them. But for us, we're like, okay, when we had that downtime, we're like, you know what, people were right, we did have a fad because people aren't buying our glasses anymore. So we took time out when the downtime was very difficult for us. We took time out to be like, okay, cool, we need to rebrand, we redid our product, and now we know what we want. And that's when we got to put a plan together. But it did take us about 2 years, because 2 years into the company, it's a total different direction than what we started with. So I think that, like you said earlier, we had to just reboot it, and it's totally different, and we're always going to grow. So besides sunglasses, we're going to add optical and other products as well. But it was hard for us because we didn't really plan to have a sunglasses company. It was more like we were putting glue on on safety goggles and studs, and honestly, those glasses only cost us about less than $1 to make, and we were selling them for about $295. So we really made nothing into something.
Just echoing a lot of what you said, I think that business plans are relatively useless at the time of launch. I think go out there, go to a hackathon, talk to a bunch of people about your idea, off some people. I think a business plan is useful when you start fundraising, for sure. Investors want to know how you're going to make money, all that kind of stuff. But the first few months, like I see these beautiful, amazing business plans a lot of times from business school students. I'm like, what have you done? Have you been out of the market at all? And they're like, no, but I had this great business plan. It's not anything, right? Until you've tested it with 1,000 customers and some sort of market adoption, it's just an idea on a piece of paper. So just go out there and test.
I'm going to quick comment too. Business plans are bullshit. I think that it's
Yeah.
not something. It's for business school students. Don't do it. The two things you need are, one, you need tools to help you conceptualize and manage the business. So for me, that's my financial model. It's like, it shows what factors go into the business and how we're going to make money. And so I actually manage the business through that and update it every month to kind of adapt to where we are. So to me, that's my business plan. The second thing I think you need is some sort of external facing. So whoever you're going to be presenting to, whether it's investors, customers, whatever, you need something that works for them. And through the creation of those two things, you have a plan for your business.
Oh, can I say one thing? Of course. And also too, I feel like with business plans, sometimes it can limit you, I guess, per se. Because if you have like, some people are so stuck on what's in the books or what's written on paper that like you may stop yourself. So if you build this beautiful business plan before you even test the market with your product or whatever the company is, you're going to be so stuck on this business plan on like following exactly what it is, because in your mind, people are like put into this thing where you have to follow it. But then like what we said and what everyone else has probably experienced, once you go into like, once your product is tested with the market, like what we thought before where our market was is totally different now. Like 100% opposite. So if I would have went with like what our plan would have been in the beginning, our business would have failed all the way. So even if you are like steady on going with your business plan, don't be afraid to change it.
More so,
But
write goals.
Yeah.
Write goals, don't write like a business plan, but you can write goals for yourself.
I would agree with everything.
You get to start first.
No, by all means, I talk all day. So I would just say one thing that was not said with the business plan thing. Don't be afraid to change it. We literally change it every single day, so it looks totally different from 2 years ago. But use a canvas. It's like the new trendy thing, a business model canvas. I used it through an accelerator program I went through last summer, and it was so tremendously helpful. It doesn't drag you down of writing line by line perfect sentences. It's just literally what you imagine, like a canvas where you paint things and you throw it on there and either bust your assumptions or prove your assumptions to be true. So I just recommend that instead of writing a 50-page document that no one's going to read until you have some revenue or some customers.
You said that was business model canvas, you said? Okay.
Yeah,
Is there a specific app or program that you're using for that, or are you just?
It's through, it's also a lean startup methodology, so if you Google lean startup business canvas, it'll come up. It just goes through all of the integral parts of starting your company, like who is your customer. When I started Convolved, I was like, started this accelerator, and I thought the director of the accelerator was gonna like throw me out the window. So I said, my target customer is a principal, an after-school program leader, a parent, a student, a teacher, a teacher in Minnesota, a teacher in New York City. And he's like, no, and you guys will all get this once you go through this process. He's like, you have one customer, and you have to hone in on that customer and know what that customer reads and what they listen to on the radio and what time do they wake up, what time do they go to bed, like where do they go on the weekends, like who is that? And from there, I've honed down to a teacher that is, I know all the parameters around that one teacher, not every single person in the education system in the United States of America. So those are the types of things that you'll learn through lean startup methodology.
Go ahead.
The next question.
Yeah, well, on that note, I just want to know, what's the difference between accelerator and incubator, and are there more aiders that I don't know?
So the question is, what's the difference between accelerator and incubator, and are there any more aiders? So Alex, I will let you start on this one.
That's a great question. I don't know the actual definition of those words, but Angela
should take it if you
I can't answer that.
But I went through an accelerator program. It was a 10-week program that was basically a Kickstarter in starting your enterprise. I had built my prototype. I had done an alpha test. At that point, I was ready to go to an accelerator where they taught you, business development, customer validation, that type of thing. And sometimes accelerators take equity for being part of the program, up to 6% usually, also inclusive of cash in some form, whether it's convertible debt or part of the equity. the accelerator I went through did not take any equity and gave us a small stipend for the summer, so that's something to consider. And then I'm part of an incubator now at the Blue Ridge Foundation, and essentially it's like an incubator. They're incubating us to grow into chickens or grow into beautiful companies. But that is, I guess, from an entrepreneur's working perspective, the difference.
So it came after, the incubator came after the accelerator?
For me, yes, it's different for everyone, I guess, and Angela can talk more about the specifics, but the Blue Ridge Foundation, it's a social incubator. They invested in our company, so we're a portfolio company, and they put all of their portfolio companies in the same office to promote cross-collaboration, which I think is pretty awesome. And we're all dedicated to upward social mobility by using technology.
The words are blurring. One used to give money and one didn't. One used to give you office space, one didn't, but they basically mean the same thing now. I just want to say if you guys want to know all of them, you go to the 37 Angels website, all the way to the right, there's resources, and we have the 100 or so incubators and accelerators in New York City listed by type. So we have food incubators, education technology incubators, healthcare, whatever the case may be. We also have co-working spaces listed.
What site you said?
37angels.com. All the way to the right, there's a resources tab. We also have glossary, a lot of these terms that we're tossing around. We have resources for women entrepreneurs.
Okay, so this isn't the question you asked, but I have a strong opinion on incubators and accelerators, so don't go to one unless it's really worth your time. We were finalists for 3 incubators. We thought this was what we're supposed to do. You're supposed to like apply to an incubator and then your company gets launched. We were grilling them when they were grilling us, and we realized that this wasn't the right thing for our business. We were 10 years of business experience each. We had a product, we were making money. Giving away 6% of the business was not the right thing for us to do. If you're a little younger and you really need to learn and absorb some skills, that works. But it also has to be the right one for your business, and you have to really grill them on how they're going to help you. A lot of them just kind of let you go after, and you want someone who's going to stay involved as well. So there's this kind of like glamour around the incubators and accelerators, but I think a lot of it is really overhyped and overrated. So don't get sucked into it, and do your homework and make sure if that's the route you want to go, that it's the right fit for you, and you also don't need it.
A great analogy is it's kind of like business school, right? Like business school used to be like you had to go, and now I would argue only go if you can get in. Anyway, business school's a good analogy.
We're teaching at business school.
That I teach at Columbia Business School.
I'm so happy you said that, because Coco and I, we started our business straight out of high school. And a lot of people are like, what business school did you go to? I'm like, trial and error. It's true.
Do you have any financial advisors?
Yeah, we do. And we have a business advisor as well. So we brought someone on our team to teach us.
When we first started, we were just the artistic girls that knew nothing about business. It was one of those things that all of our material would be laying on the ground, and he's like, this is 2 cents, and this is 10 cents. Anything that we were just messy, and all our material and studs and glue would be everywhere, and he'd be like, that's money sitting on the ground, So he definitely
whipped us.
Oh my gosh, we are breathing our sponges.
He comes to our meetings and he's that hard asshole.
He doesn't have to say anything. He just sits there.
He just sits there and just gives us this whole glory. And I know if it was just us two, a lot of people won't take us as serious.
Especially because we're young and then we look like this, and so they kind of try to be all sweet. And then when Dwayne's there, he's excuse my language, but he's an asshole. But the thing is, he just likes to get straight. So now it's crazy because having him on our team, and he talks. One thing I love about him is that the way he talks to us. Because first of all, he's a New Yorker from Harlem, so he already talks hard and accents. And he always sounds like he's screaming. So the crazy part about it is that he'll be yelling at us, and the way we communicate is we're not yelling as we have no anger. But that's just the way we talk. And I remember when we first met him, I used to cry. And he's like, why are you crying? This is business. There's no feelings in business. So now it's funny because I'm so used to it. So he's
his girlfriend would say why are you yelling at them? They're women. He's like, no, they're tough cookies. He's built us into these super tough businesswomen. But when we first started, we were super sensitive, and
Now we have like.
now we have like the super like tough skin now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How did you guys determine pricing for your products or services? And like, was it through market research, or did you just trial and error and then?
I have a funny story for that. So when we first started our company, our prices were very low. We were like selling our glasses at like $30, and that was the time when we were just doing the handcraft, and everything's produced in like great quality now. And so it was like $30. We had like online, we made like a WordPress back then. That's when it was popular. Then we made like a big cartel, and there was a big blog, because in our field, blogging and like the internet, social media is one of our biggest marketing tools. That's what drove us. Free marketing, we would pay for marketing, and that's what really gained so many sales for us. And it started with $30, and this website did a post on us, and we got like 100 sales in a day. It was like around the first couple of weeks that we started our company, and we hurried up and hiked up the prices. We're like, okay, everyone's buying it, we're getting popular now, let's hurry up and hike the prices.
Because you were hand making.
We're hand making everything, but the real answer to your question is it's all about like trial and error, like trying out a price based on who you think your customer is. And we actually really nailed down who our customer was. We figured out that $125 to $275 was the price that people were paying, and the quality for our glasses. We have great quality glasses now. When we first started our company, the glasses were around $65 to like $125, and that's because they were handmade, but they weren't as good as quality. And now we kind of stick to like the $125 to $275, and so really just like based on the quality, based on being true to who you think your customer and what they're going to spend. A lot of people are like, you guys should sell your glasses for like $600. It's so cool, but I'm like, my customer isn't going to pay that amount, and like you really have to like how she was saying, like really nail down your customer and really figure out what is the amount they're going to pay. And we know that that's a really hard thing. It's really trial and error, really just like figuring it out.
And also too, you hit your margins. I mean, you can't
if a pair of glasses costs $20 to make, you're not going to sell them for $30, because then we do wholesale. That's very important as well. And then also one thing that we did too is market research. So like when we found out who our customer was, we looked at other companies and brands that were similar to the same, that had the same customers. And obviously it's like, how can we make our prices maybe a little bit lower, but still in that same range, so then people don't choose that company, they choose us. So we've definitely like, it took us a while, and our prices have like not really jumped, but now we found our steady price that we're gonna always keep. But we market research, we'll go to stores and go like see other brands and see what they're pricing it for, and we'll just kind of like, okay, good, we're in the same range. And there's a lot of, the market's changing now, a lot of high-end designers are actually going down to our price market. $275 for sunglasses, that's the middle range. Glasses go up to about $600 to $800, so we call ours middle range. And then, you know, like the more lower end is like the $5, $10 glasses.
So regarding pricing, I would just say test. And just, I'm glad you guys defined what you meant by market research, because I think there's a lot of good market research. I think pricing is one of the worst things to do market research on. Consumers are really, really bad at telling you what they will pay for something. If you ask somebody, will you pay $80 for this? They might say yes, they might say no. There's very little correlation to how they'll actually behave when they have a credit card in their hand, so don't waste your time doing willingness to pay service, but test it. And the other thing I'll say is do not be afraid to change anything, pricing being one of them. I talk to all these entrepreneurs and they're like, but my X thousand loyal customers are used to me doing this. I can't change. And you need to realize that your customer base is this big and like the world is this big. And there's all these people who have no idea who you are. You can change your logo, you can change your name, you can change your price, you can change your brand. Just don't be scared to do that.
Anyone else have a question? Yep.
Can you guys, I think most of you guys are like co-partners, and I imagine you guys like have a team, you guys talk about that, and like, I imagine it's important that you choose like certain people to work with, and things like that. And like if you did it by yourself, do you think it would be the same experience?
So for those who didn't hear it, the question is about choosing people to work on your team, kind of the work environment that you have working with more than one person. Everyone talking about that.
So I would say from our perspective, I guess, being a very, very small company, we wear like 1,000 hats in our company. And also, Breezy and I, when we first started, it was very hard for us to realize like, first of all, we're twins and we're sisters. So it's one of those things where, like, we're already connected to the hip. And we literally shared a laptop for, like, our first year. Because we really, and we were very inseparable. We shared a phone, a laptop. And then we were like, okay, we're getting busy, so we need to, like, separate. Because we used to be very, like, it was a serious problem. Like, very, it was like we were very inseparable and very connected to the hip. So we'll both be on one laptop, on our emails, like, both on there like that. And then, and then we're like, okay, we're getting a little busy. So then we try to, like, figure out, okay, who's better at what? So Breezy manages, like, she does all of her designing and she manages sales because Breezy's like a sales girl. For me, I just handle all of our business things and do all the marketing. And then Dwayne, who's our business manager, he helps with, like, all of our operations and, like, everything. Like, me and Dwayne work hand in hand. And then we recently just hired a PR director because I don't have, like, she handles all of our press. And it's more so, like, her doing all the press for, like, the brand and, you know, doing the pulls. I don't have time to, like, chase my glasses down and get them back. And the thing is that, she always misses the good part. The first 3 years of our, the first 3 years of our company, we handle all of our PR by ourselves. And I think, like, the fourth year of our company, which is, like, this year, we realized that we need to really just focus on our designs and really focus on sales. And so it's one of those things where you see, what are you lacking? What are things that you feel that if you have the budget to hire somebody, because we still have a million hats that we could be fulfilled, but we don't have the budget to hire those people. And we realized that we really need someone to handle our PR because that was taking up over all of our time. Like, we didn't even have time to design, and we can't design and there's no product. If there's no product, there's no brand. And so we met with so many different PR companies, and the good thing about wearing a million hats is when you actually hire someone on, they can't tell, they can't do anything behind your back because you already worked it, and you're very aware and you're knowledgeable how it goes.